legendary rock band Kiss has had fans rocking and rolling all night long for nearly 40 years, but former lead guitarist Ace Frehley says when the makeup came off, sometimes the backstage drama would begin. He writes about that, the band's rise to worldwide fame, his own struggles with drugs and alcohol, and his eventual departure from Kiss in his new book called No Regrets, a rock and roll memoir. It's good to have you here. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
I think anybody who watched Kiss over the years, probably the thought crossed their mind that you guys dabbled in drugs a little bit when you got to see you. But
a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit. How big a part of the band's existence was it?
Well, it wasn't so much Paul or Gene doing it. It was mostly me and Peter were the bad guys when it came to that. But, you know, over the years it escalated, and luckily I caught it in time, and, you know, today, luckily, I'm 5 years sober, and, you know, every day above ground
is a good day.
Is a good day.
You had dabbled with drugs as a kid. When you got to a rock
not
band...
so much as a kid. It was more alcohol when I was a kid.
Did you feel, though, when you got to a rock band that it was in some ways expected of you, that it was just part of the scene?
Well, it was a big part of the scene. I mean, you got to realize, you know, Studio 54 and that whole scene in Manhattan in the 70s, a lot of people were doing cocaine. You know, most people were doing it openly.
And I don't want to make light of the addiction because it took a toll and it's a very serious subject, but you do write something that caught my attention in this. And you guys actually developed a code name for cocaine. Do you want to share it with our viewers?
Well, we called it Betty White, you know. And, you know.
Why would you pick on poor Betty White?
If I was going to a party, I'd call up my buddy and I'd say, is Betty going to be there? And if she said yes, then we'd know what would be there.
She's like the personification of good. I'm not sure
it's the perfect name, and she's such a great lady, and I just love her to death.
You write a lot in the book about your relationship with Gene Simmons, obviously your bandmate, and it was an up and down relationship. What was the source of the tension when the tension existed?
Well, I made those guys very nervous. I mean, there were times when they thought I was never going to make it on stage and finish a show or even begin a show. But somehow, some way, I always ended up, you know, coming through. And a lot of people think there was a love-hate relationship going on with me and Gene, and it appears that way more to people outside looking in. But, you know, me and Gene actually have a good relationship. You know, I had lunch with him at the Beverly Hills Hotel about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, but you do write, so you call him a loner. You question whether he had a sex addiction.
True.
You say he tried to rewrite Kiss's history by downplaying your contributions to the band.
Absolutely.
Have you talked to him about that?
No.
Why not? You had lunch with him a month ago.
Yeah, but I wanted to keep it light. I hadn't seen him since we received the VH1 Rock Honors Award. And I just wanted to reestablish communication because it had been 5 years. And just let him know that I'm clean and sober, and I just kind of want to wipe the slate clean and, you know, look towards the future.
I also get the sense that you felt Gene Simmons was more about commercializing the band.
And it's very businesslike.
And you seem to want to be more in the rock and roll for art's sake.
Well, one of the reasons I left the band was, I mean, I got into rock and roll because here I am, you're getting paid for something you love to do. When it wasn't fun anymore, it was time to go. And towards the end, it wasn't fun anymore.
Gene Simmons gave us a statement when we reached out to him. He says, "We love Ace. We wish him the best. Sobriety isn't easy, and he needs to surround himself with people who care about him enough to be tough on him. Ace will win. I know it."
Hell of a guy.
You talk in the book, you write in the book about how some of your shows, after a while, they became less about being freewheeling, spontaneous rock concert, and they became more like Broadway shows. And you even talk about how choreographed they came, and they were dangerous after a while.
Well, they had to be choreographed because we had smoke bombs and flash pots and all sorts of stuff going on. So if we're at the wrong place at the wrong time, you know, you get blown up.
You get your head blown off. If
Literally.
You were supposed to be there, that's why you got a flash pot in the head.
I mean, Gene's hair went on fire a couple of times.
You hated playing the song "I Was Made for Loving You." Why?
Well, my wrist used to cramp up. You know, I played that chugga chugga, tukka tukka tukka. You know, I'm doing this
for like 6 minutes.
Yeah, and my wrist is ready to fall off, and it's ready to cramp up. You know, plus, I mean, it was kind of it had a disco feel to it, and I was never a big disco guy.
When you look back, every kid or a lot of kids dream of being rock stars. You've lived it and now extricated yourself from it. Was it everything you expected it would be?
Everything and more, but you know, there was also a dark side to it, and a lot of that had to do with my addictions, but luckily, I was able to conquer my demons. But I'm just excited about being an author.
Yeah, you're kidding. After all these years.
I'm making the transition from guitar god to author,
Ace Frehley, it's great to see you. Good to
Thank
have
you
you here.
so
I want to
much.
mention to people that you're going to be back with Hoda